Hello, hello to my True Blue crew. So good to be with you here on the first full week of August. And I have to admit that I almost canceled today. I had a very long day at work, but took a shower, had my afternoon tea, and I am doing well. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo, so let me know if my second camera is too distracting. Um, I couldn't use the magic uh, headphone plug-in that usually resolves the echo problem because my phone is almost dead. Like I said, it's been kind of a crazy day, but it is good to see Tasha and Karen and all my friends. So thank you so much for being here. Hopefully the echo is just on my end. So that sounds good. Thanks for the feedback, ladies. And the other reason that I just was a little bit out of sorts with my sew-in chat is because I'm in between projects. And I say that I have tons of whips. That's the whole point of being here every Wednesday, is so that I pick a project and make progress on it. But for a couple weeks I was working on the temperature quilt. So if you don't know about that project, head back to some of my previous lives and you can see the temperature project. But I didn't feel like working on that again. I need to, gather some more, do some prep work off camera before I can work on that project again. And my cotton cuts projects that I usually put into rotation, we are at kind of one of the intermediate phases of that. So let me take a moment here and catch up with chat. I see Katie here. Good to see you. Hi, Crystal. Good to see you. Michelle, welcome from Independence, Missouri. That's great because I've got a patriotic quilt here, and Independence certainly sounds like a patriotic town in the US. So Cotton Cuts updates. If you have poked around on my channel page, you will see a new post about Cotton Cuts because several weeks ago I mentioned the idea of having a puzzle mystery sew-in chat exclusive, all of us together. I have a Zoom professional account that we can all meet together, have lots of participants, and get some real-time chat and sewing in. So if that sounds like something you'd like to work on, and of course you don't have to be working on a Cotton Cuts project, you can come and sew on whatever. But if you would like to have a true interactive live video experience with True Blue Quilts and all my other friends, then definitely use the link in the community tab and the recent poll about whether we should do that on a Wednesday or a Saturday. So that is coming up. And so that's why I have not started on my next Cotton Cuts clue, is because I'm saving that for the Cotton Cuts sewing day. And so that's the flyway mystery that's been going on for most of 2025. But we have also just started the Under the Sea Cotton Cuts mystery. And it's still a mystery for me because I don't even know what colorway I am using. Cotton Cuts gave the ambassadors the choice this time of having someone else select our colorway. And you know me, I'm always up for shenanigans and games and different things like that. So I said, sure, pair me up with someone and let it be a true mystery. And so tomorrow night, Thursday, April 7th, or April, what? August 7th, I will be live over on the Cotton Cuts channel. So you have about 24 hours to find Cotton Cuts YouTube and subscribe so you get the notification when we go live tomorrow night to find out our colors. And I think there are 6 or 8 of us that were adventurous enough to let someone else choose. And so my partner, I investigated a little bit and found some colors that I think they would like. And so we'll see. And that will all be revealed tomorrow. We have a little packet of fabric. And I could probably, if I did some more sleuthing, I could probably figure out what my colors are, because some of them have shipped and they keep a running list on the website, but I have not gone to do that. I'm a kid that loves surprises. So I will not, if you tell me there's a surprise coming, I will just sit back and ponder. I don't need to do any sleuthing to figure it out ahead of time or guessing. I just tell me the surprise and let me have a pure reaction. So that's great. Michelle, you're working on the puzzle mystery and catching up. Hopefully you can join us for one of those live sessions. Hello to Pam. Thank you for coming in. So we've got the Cotton Cuts Live Under the Sea unveiling or partner match coming up tomorrow. We've got the puzzle mystery sew along live session at some point coming up in the next few weeks. So I haven't worked on cotton cuts in a while. So then I was thinking, what else could I do? I do have a customer quilt on the long arm. So I had mentioned in the past that is a fun project for me to work on while I am live with you guys. But it's kind of a hassle to set up the cameras and the tripod and everything and make sure I can move around the long arm during a live session. So I talked myself out of that. And that brought me back to my patriotic diamonds. This was a project I did, if you remember, a few months ago. The Fat Quarter Shop had Jolly Bar Day, and Jolly Bars are their own kind of a half layer cake. They're 5x10 rectangles, and I just cut them all in half and used my half rectangle triangle technique and sewed all my pieces into diamonds. And my local guild is collecting patriotic quilts for a veteran center. So I just need to put some borders on this to get it up to the right size. So long story short, that was about 10 minutes of me chattering as to how I decided on what project I am going to work on. So as you can see, the main fabric selections were these patriotic. There's some floral prints in there, stars, stripes, really, really nice selection. I needed, you could see there wasn't an even number of rectangles. So I was able to get, what, 6 across? 8. No, 8. I was able to, there were 40 Jolly Bars. So when you cut them in half, that means you have 40 rectangles. So I was able to do that across. I only needed 4 rows to make diamonds, and then that meant I had some left over. So I put a couple on the sides to extend that middle row, and then I put a single diamond up at the top and bottom of the quilt. So then I had to fill in, and I've got a wonderful stash of patriotic fabric. So I was able to add this star print and this red tone on tone to fill in the spaces that I needed on the corners. And now to bring it up to size, I need some additional fabric. So I cut myself some white strips that's going to make a nice little accent border. And then I decided to go with cornerstones of the red that you can see in the workspace camera. And so that will go, right here. And so it'll connect that red that I added in the corner. And then I just had some of this nice watercolor blue left over. I think that was a wide back maybe from another project, and I just cut it down. So I am hoping, I have very long strips here. I am hoping that I have enough to do the outer border, because I didn't measure anything. I'm just kind of winging it on this to get this project finished up today. So that is what I am up to. Why don't you guys tell me about your sewing projects and what is going on out in the world? And this, you'll notice a trend with me in these improv borders that I don't follow a good procedure. I just make long strips, and actually I'm going to have to sew them together to make sure they fit. And I may not have cut enough. We'll see. It's one of those do as I say, not as I do. So it's always better to measure your quilt and know how big your pieces need to be before you start sewing. But I like to live on the edge, and we'll just do it today. And I do have, let's see, let me just ramble on a little bit more about my quilting projects, because at my sewing group that meets at my local shop on once a month, I took a kit, and I haven't shown it here on the channel. I've just been kind of sewing on that in the background. And I do like working from kids, especially for those in-person sewing days when there's a lot of people around. You just need something, fairly low in mental effort to just, follow the steps. A lot of my other projects are my own design, so I'm having to think through the process as I'm sewing and keep everything going. Oh yes, Tasha is going to be working on her legit kit pattern Sculliver, right? And then her cotton cuts clues. Yeah, I just have the one clue to catch up on, but I still haven't finished my floral states of America. I got all the blocks done. I just have to now do the embroidery. That's the killer. And I want to do legit kits. I picked out the tree frog, I think is going to be my first kit. And Crystal says she is doing some blues. What pattern are you using for that blue wedding quilt, Crystal? I love it. That's another project. Okay, so long story. Settle in. Grab your beverage of choice, and it is story time. So I am a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy. And in fact, that's where I got the name True Blue Quilts. That pays homage to my class that was called True Blue in the Air Force. And of course, there's alumni groups. I did a very minimal amount of active duty time, and was never anywhere near the hot spots of the world. So, save all your praise and admiration for the guys and gals that have actually deployed to war zones. I was not that part of it. But I did have a great time, and it is definitely part of my story. And next year, 2026, will be the 50th anniversary of women in the service academies, because it was 1976 under President Ford when the first women were admitted to study and serve at the various military academies, the Air Force Academy in Colorado, West Point, the military academy in New York, Coast Guard, Navy, Annapolis. So it's going to be a big deal for the, all of us women who have attended the military academies. And they did a call for art at the Air Force Academy. And someone suggested, I did think of it myself when I first saw the announcement, but then one of my classmates was like, Andy, you should do a quilt for this art exhibit, because it's going to be a digital exhibit. They're going to make some prints of things. And I do have an ongoing project that I'm calling my 92 Stars quilt that is all going to be in blues. And so that's what reminded me, Crystal, when you said you were working on a blue quilt and had to make bigger blocks. I've got this plan for 92 stars, and I stalled out at like 20. So then I was thinking, if I sewed one block a day, could I have it done by the deadline? And there's no way. I'm not even going to put that pressure on myself. But I do have a quilt that I did with my college roommate. So there's the Academy Women connection, was that the two of us worked on this quilt together long distance. So I will be able to make a submission for that. And Pam is a veteran. Thank you for your service. Let's see, going back to the chat. Oh no, Tasha's local shop is closing. That's so, so sad. Okay, so there's the new poll. How far do you guys have to go? I am very blessed. I live in a metro big city, Phoenix, Arizona. We've got, 12 shops, in the Phoenix metro area. My local shop is 5 minutes away. So I know I'm totally spoiled. Tasha's going to need to drive over 30 minutes. Oh, you poor thing. So yeah, definitely plan ahead. Karen is doing a Kirby log cabin. Oh, for a Christmas wreath. How fun. Yeah. And another winter quilt all bundled up. Yeah, I have seen so many cute Christmas quilts. A lady showed at our guild meeting last night a star that was in reds and greens, and it was striped blocks, but she cut it like an 8-point star. Really pretty. And Karen has... Let's see. Karen's within 20 minutes. Tasha, don't feel too bad. Crystal has to go 3 hours to get to a quilt shop. I hope you have good Amazon delivery for when you, or when you're online shopping. It doesn't necessarily have to be Amazon, because I would think you would want to go to a specialty shop if you were going to order online for anything quilt related. Okay, so back to my wonky borders. I am just slapping this border on, and I will chop off the excess to make it the right length. And I know that's not the right way. So like I said, do as I say, not as I do. Measure and find the center and pin everything. Okay, here's a recommendation. Quilt and Caboodle, Lori. Good to see you. She is 5 minutes away. And yes, Tasha, 35 minutes isn't bad compared to 3 hours. And Pam has 3 minutes. Three minutes. 3 quilt shops within 30 minutes. So yeah, you can make a day trip of that. And Karen also purchases a lot of fabric on Etsy. Yes, that is a good idea. Okay, so Crystal is asking if I saw the pattern name, and I did see your comment. Is it called Roles Reversed? I somehow I thought that was in relation to our military discussion, so I was not catching up on the clue. But now that you say that, I will have to look up Roles Reversed so I can see your beautiful blue quilt. Okay, Tasha, have a good night. It's late. She is on the East Coast. Thank you for tuning in for my after, it's still early here, Arizona. It's only 4:20 at the moment. So, and how long, Tasha, do you have before school starts, or anybody on? I know it's, so I saw a chart on Facebook, I think, that that had all the school start dates, and it was like the southern, it basically was a stair step. Southern states, Arizona, Florida, Texas, all start real early in August, and then like Minnesota is one of the few that starts after Labor Day. Oh, and New York also. So see, I'm a liar right away. And Crystal says the roles reversed pattern is in a book, actually. Good to know. Michelle is only 30 minutes away from a quilt shop, so you and Tasha can set your timers and chat. Yeah, I bet, Tasha, ready for school to start. And Michelle has several quilt shops. Missouri Star is an hour away of where you are. So, yeah, and Nightbot caught you, Michelle. Careful with the all capitals. That's not my setting. That's them. Okay, and since I put my sewing down to scroll through the chat, I'm gonna have to line everything up again. Okay, here we go. I was really intrigued by the Cotton Cuts retreats that they're doing. They're doing some in-person events. They just had a retreat in New Orleans, and they did I think they did a special puzzle mystery at that. So that would be a bucket list trip. I still need to make my pilgrimage to Missouri Star, to Hamilton. So I would love to travel the country in a camper with my husband. We've got a little setup. And I've got all the maps saved, how you can do like what route you should take to hit all 50 states in like 30 days or something. So that's kind of my bucket list retirement plan. But I don't know how this is all going to work out because my husband is 10 years older than me. So we've got this weird overlap period coming up when he's going to be retired and I might still be working. So we have to figure out if, when we'll actually have time for me to kind of retire. I mean, because I'll never retire from quilting. I'll continue to do long arm work and teach classes as long as I can. I'd even be tempted to go back to work in the fabric shop. That seems to be a pretty common retirement job for the ladies around here. I also want to apply to GAML for their traveling education program, be a teacher for them. That would be fun. Oh, Michelle was saying that's Lori had said that Missouri Star is at the top of her bucket list. And so Michelle replied that that's why she bought their house. That's so cool. And Crystal is giving us the magazine information for her Rolls reversed quilt. It was from American Patchwork and Quilting. Thank you for that. So people can write that down or screenshot or however you keep track and go look for that pattern. Oh, you are such an enabler. Michelle is letting us know that Missouri Star has an RV camp. So that is cool. My husband obviously tolerates all my quilting, and he has never really complained when I plan vacations around quilt shops and quilt shows and things. But sometimes I think it just would be better if I kept, if those were separate trips and I just went and did my quilt stuff without him and then planned something with him that he would enjoy more. So I may have to look at a quilt retreat in Hamilton and go without him. Okay, roll reversal, not rolls reversed. Roll reversal. Yes, definitely. So give me a couple more years to figure out, what my retired life is going to look like, and then I can start planning these roundups, because that is definitely what I want to do when I plan these trips around the United States, is just drop in on all my quilting friends. So you've been warned. I've also thought that meeting at either Paducah or the Houston show would be fun. I need a leader ender, and I don't have. I have a bunch of squares that I could put together, but I will just run my thread tab. I keep a scrap of fabric. Oh yes, Katie, Greenland would be fun to take a special trip there. I have not done, I'm well traveled thanks to the Air Force, but I have not been out of the United States 10 years ago we took, almost 15 now, we took a European vacation. And we've gone to Mexico a couple times with my brother-in-law. So that's going to be our next international. Yep, I'm probably going to, well, we'll see. Let me see here if I'm going to make it across the top with this scrap. Don't think so. Nope. I'm just that much short. So I will need to cut another strip before I do anything else. Well, After I attach the sides, I will need another strip before I can do the top and bottom. So I joined my strips on the diagonal, and I always like to press my seams open with diagonal seams. And we were having a discussion on Tasha's channel the other day when she was live, all about pressing open and if we should set our seams before that. As you can see, half the time I don't iron at all, so setting my seams doesn't really mean much. And after another live show tonight is William from My So-Called Life, and he goes live on Wednesday nights, as far as I understand. And Jess, hello, I just saw you pop into chat. She is running a Quilters chapter of the We Do Not Care Club. So good for you, Jess, jumping on that. I have some thoughts about what I do not care about. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to share them publicly. So obviously, I do not care at the moment about measuring for borders. But Jess and William, I need to hear the McTwin story because Jess was on William's channel, My So-Called Life. Sew as in sewing machine. And Jess and Katie, just overhearing you guys talk about Road to California, gave me all the FOMO thoughts, and I am definitely going to drive over and crash your party. So this is your official warning. That I will see you guys in January at the Road to California show. I've tried to do the fangirl thing with a couple other quilter YouTube people, and I always feel like I get a brush off. So help me out and be as enthusiastic and jump up and down and hug me. Okay, that's the desired response. So, Jess, did you just start chatting on one of his lives, and that's how you discovered that you had so much in common and started hanging out? Oh, Karen, are you going to come in 2026? She's attended Road to California for years. We will definitely have to coordinate these meetups. We can all be jumping up and down in the hallway. Oh, yay, Lori. Yes, yes. Crash at your sister's house and join the party. Okay, we've got an official True Blue Crew meetup going. So everybody is welcome. Road to California 2026. As I said, because of my full-time job, I'll probably only be there on Friday, possibly, or Saturday. Oh, and Tammy's gonna come. She's from the Siberian Wind. Thanks, Pam. In 2016, QuiltCon was in Pasadena, and my husband was gracious enough to drive over there with me. And I went to a class one day. I walked around the show, and we just had a nice weekend getaway. That was when I was still teaching. And then two, three, must have been 2023. So just 2 years ago, I guess, I went to Road to California with a quilter friend of mine here from Phoenix. And we went for the whole time. We took multiple classes. We walked around the show. But thinking back, I don't necessarily need 2 full days. But if we do a meetup, I might want to be there. I'm just trying to think, since I'm still working full time, it would be, I'd have to see if I can, how I want to budget my vacation time. If I want a whole day, 2 whole days, and drive over Thursday and then be at the show Friday, Saturday, and come back Sunday. Or if my husband wants to drive over with the camper and we stay in an RV lot rather than a hotel, I have to decide. Pam took a bunch of classes. Jess says she wants to take classes too. Yeah, I took a long arm class with Claudia Feel, and that was amazing. Not necessarily that I learned anything that I didn't know already, but just the environment of and seeing all her stuff, and it's always fun in that class environment. Yeah, it's not taking long arm classes at a show is great. Even if you've never used a long arm before, if you're thinking about it, enroll in one of the classes because they have helpers there. They'll get you started. It's nothing to be scared of, and you can learn some good stuff. So I haven't looked at the class list yet. I suppose if I'm serious about this, I should take a look and see if there's anything that I can't miss to do that. But I also need to start applying to some of these shows to be a teacher because I have my half rectangle triangle technique and my own ruler that I could be promoting and my books. But yeah, I'm not that good at self-promotion, and those deadlines, I never plan that far ahead to get a proposal together and try to be a teacher. Someday. So how many of you are improv border people like me, or are you all good quilters and measure and make your borders exact? Here are Karen's plans for Road to California. And move furniture, yeah. Um, so funny story, when my girlfriend and I went to Road to California a couple years ago, we did not take our machines, because we were taking classes and they provide machines and everything, and we didn't want to take up the space in the car. And then we got there and we realized that we needed something to do in the evenings. So we bought diamond painting kits. There was a vendor in the vendor hall that had all the full supply kits. And we each got a big diamond painting, and we were sitting in the hotel room putting our diamonds in little crystals in their painting thing. Didn't need to move much furniture, but um, good job, Mary, living on the edge with me. Jess is also an organic quilter. I like that phrasing. Yes. Good. Katie does it correctly. She measures to make sure they fit. Um, and honestly, Katie, that yes, it gives you a much better result. I just get stuck here in behind my sewing table, and I'm kind of blocked in with my cameras, and I don't, I don't take the time ahead off camera to get things prepared. I'm last minute Lucy here. Karen is also a dedicated quilter and a fan of diamond painting. I did the one, I haven't gotten them framed yet. I need to, because it would be pretty in my sewing room to have those up. I did one that is giraffes because I love giraffes. And I have them in all forms in my house. Posters, pictures, wooden carvings, stuffed animals, ceramic. It's got a huge collection of little giraffe figurines. So the first diamond painting was giraffes, and then the second one, of course, was blue. I did a blue mandala type picture. And Pam has got a 50-50 technique going there. Half the time she measures, half the time she's organic. And oh, Katie, 18 quilt tops. Woo. Lori hates math, usually just eyeballs. That's good enough. And Katie, you were saying you hate wavy borders, but I suppose they could get a little wavy when you don't measure, but I think as long as you're keeping everything taut and sewing straight, and I wouldn't think there's that much of a problem. And since I do my own long arming, it's not like I'm making anybody else mad. I just would frustrate myself if they weren't straight. So tell me why you decided to count is first is my first question. And don't, I'm not sure how you feel about that number, if you think it's high or low or it's surprising in any way. I probably have close to 50 quilt tops stacked up under my long arm that me and my mom have made over the years and that I just have never gotten quilted. So I need to get on the ball. But I am really, really trying to do one of my own after every customer quilt. So if you look on the bright side, my customer base is slowing down a bit. So I don't have, dozens of quilts lined up. Not that I ever had dozens. I maybe ever had 2 or 3 waiting in the wings to get done on my long arm. And Katie says 18 is more than she thought. Yes, you have been very, very productive the last 2 years. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Good to see you. You're the cool one. You have to remind me of your name. I'm very sorry. I don't have my channel name list out, and I apologize. Pam probably has 18 also. So she thinks that's life, Pam. There's no judgment here for how many quilts you have. Laura Lynn, thank you, Katie, for helping me out. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop in-house. So I'll have to let you guys know how the last couple quilt tops work out on the long arm with these improv borders, because if they're all wonky and look terrible, then I will reform my ways. I'm going to be able to get 3 sides done with the 4 strips I cut. For some reason, I thought I could get a border around a 40 by 50 quilt with only 4 40-inch strips. Oh my goodness. Katie's wishing for a long arm. But has to send them. So tell me, Katie, is there a long arm quilter in Greenland? How many quilting friends do you have up there? We'll have to wait till she gets back and I'll ask her again. I can imagine. I'm just dreaming of those cool weather temperatures. We are headed towards record heat, record high temperatures. And my husband and I were talking about it. He has lived in Phoenix his entire life. And so he just rolls his eyes at everybody that talks about how hot it's been and, oh, this is terrible. Last summer really was hot, honestly, one of the hottest summers ever in this town for all of history, because we had so many days above 110. And so we were talking about it. People that have lived in the desert, lived in Phoenix for a long time, will understand that 100 degrees sounds hot to everybody else. That's just starting to get warm in Phoenix. When it gets up to 110, yes, that's when it's hot. We say it's hot outside, 110. For them to be saying all these extreme heat warnings when it's just around 112 doesn't seem like that big a difference to us. But when it gets over 115 and it stays over 115 for 3, 4, 7 days in a row, that's really, really hot. So it's deserved. And Katie, 0 is the temperature outside. Woo. That would be cold. Oh, no. Long arm quilters. Zero long arm quilters. So, yeah. I'm thinking there's a product placement opportunity for your channel if you could work with one of the companies, like even one of the little Grace company cutie frames, and their little rebel sewing machine that has a nice big throat plate that you could do some of your own quilting on. And I know everybody says it's not only the cost of the machine, it's the space that they take up in your house. So I totally get it. I got my long arm a few months before we decided to adopt my daughter. So I had lots of room in my house because we had a 2,000 square foot house with 2 adults. And so there was plenty of room for our hobbies. And Katie, you don't know until you ask. So put a proposal together. Let's talk offline and let's get you a long arm. Are there other quilters? Pam's saying no other piecers. Wow. I need Katie. she, uh, whoops, I clicked on the wrong message. Yes, Pam is saying there's no other. Katie would sacrifice the sofa for a long arm. I like the way you think. There are some relatively thick seams, so I need to get out my stylus. And by stylus, I mean my purple thing. I think that is so funny, Katie. Do you think it's your husband? You said he tunes in, and if but I don't know. Yeah, almost 10% of your watch hours. that is funny. And that 9% of viewing time, Katie says it's more than just us. So yeah, that would have to be. And then she's got a couple viewers, Sissimute. You'll have to, I don't know Greenland pronunciation, so I'm just trying to sound it out. Another town, I'm assuming. Couple friends from her town that watch her. Still trying to figure out the rest. And yes, I agree with Pam. If there are other quilters in Greenland, let Katie know who you are so you can get together. We'll cheer you on starting the Greenland Quilters Guild. Okay, so I have 3 of my accent borders on, and I need to go cut another strip of white to get that 4th side done. Okay, so I'm wrapping up with the same reminders that I shared at the beginning of the show. There is a live event tomorrow night on the Cotton Cuts channel, so be sure that you go over there at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern, and join me and Sean and Donnell. I think I'd have to pull up the email to see who all the other ambassadors are. Crystal, Ian. We all agreed that someone else could choose our color. And the folks at Cotton Cuts did the matching, so we don't know who we were partnered with to choose our color. So it's complete mystery. And then let me know in the community post on my channel page when you would like to join me for a Cotton Cuts puzzle mystery Zoom live sewing session. A long name, but we'll get together. Let's see what else Katie's up to. Oh yeah, trying to start a guild and get the town's people involved. Yep, start a fiber arts club. And if you don't come to the Cotton Cuts show, go see Katie. She has a live at that time. Thursday, Friday, Saturday are Katie's lives. And yeah, we'll be back here next week. And some of you that had very sharp eyes might have seen early in the week a different thumbnail promotion for tonight's episode, because I was hoping to have my friend Tabitha on the show with me. She emailed me yesterday and said, I don't think I'm going to make it to the live because I hope to be knocked out from pain medication because I just fell and broke my leg. So I said, that's fine. I don't expect anyone to come on a live show with me after they just broke their leg. So we will send our best wishes to Tabitha to heal quickly, and she will join us in September. Hello, Chloe. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I am excited to just use this time to finish up some borders on my patriotic quilt, and I will see everybody soon. Have a great week.